What's going on there, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is something I normally don't talk about too much. I've never really been one to kind of like do reaction videos or things like that to various new announcements and things like that. But I'm gonna be honest, I was excited. We got a lot of really cool announcements and stuff that came out from the State of Play as well as Summer Games Fest and the Xbox Games Showcase that I just wanted to go through and talk about. A lot of my favorites, and I'm kind of just going to talk about like each individual event, things that I really enjoyed, things that maybe were like something that surprised me or something. And honestly, there were a few games out there. A lot of them were ones that I didn't really care too much about, but I definitely understand the appeal. So I'm not going to like say necessarily that any of these events were bad, because honestly, I genuinely think we got some of the coolest three events, and we're going to have a Nintendo Direct in a couple of days. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm kind of excited to see what all of these game developers are kicking off and are um, showing up. So I'm excited. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna start off with the State of Play. They opened up with Wolverine, and I've always been a big fan of what Insomniac has done with Marvel. I'm a huge fan of the Spider-Man games. I've speedran all three of them, and so I was very excited to finally get some look into the gameplay of Wolverine. I'm a little bit nervous about Wolverine precisely on its combat side of things, because from the gameplay that we did see, it saw a lot of stuff that looked flashy, but not a lot of things that really gave way to what could be the actual like full amount of what the combat could look like. You know, we saw a lot of what could be like special attacks or quick time events, but not a lot of the actual combat. And that makes me a little bit nervous. I really liked the combat in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I think that it had some of the best combat in the series. I think out of all three games, Spider-Man 2 does combat the best. It's the most seamless, feels like it genuinely flows from one gadget to the next combo, and everything just feels like it smooths really well. So I really want to see that same thing happen in Wolverine, and I think that that's a high possibility. But the showcase that we did get from the State of Play didn't go too much into it. But either way, I'm really excited for that game. That's going to be releasing on my birthday for this year, so I'm excited for that. For the most part, that was really kind of the only thing that really stood out to me on the State of Play specifically. I know there was Rayman Legends Retold that came out, which I've never played a Rayman game, so that was one that I was kind of like, okay, whatever. But I definitely see the appeal. Same thing with Tomb Raider. The only other game that I think that I'm looking at that I would really kind of looking forward to is No Rest for the Wicked. That's a game that I've heard a lot of good things about from my brother-in-law. He's been playing in the early access, and as a action RPG fan and just an RPG fan in general, No Rest for the Wicked sounds like it's going to be a wonderful time. I guess the other game that kind of stood out for me too was Ace Combat 8 and Ace Combat 0, those two Ace Combat games. I grew up a little bit with Ace Combat. I played Ace Combat 4 and Ace Combat 5. And so seeing Ace Combat come back is really cool. I might pick that one up. I don't know for sure if I will or not yet. But still, I mean, overall, I think overall I can see where a lot of people can look at what was shown off on that State of Play and be excited for what was coming out and be excited for any of these games, honestly. I know I didn't really talk about God of War. I still have yet to dive into the God of War series. It's on my list, but I haven't gotten to it yet. And from what I saw of Laufey, it honestly looked really good. The combat looked really fun. The characters looked really cool. The story looked really interesting, and I'm a huge fan of Deborah Ann Wool, so seeing her in anything really just kind of makes me happy, so I'm excited for that. And I think a lot of the people who did watch the God of War showcase are going to be pretty excited about what is to come from that one. So overall, State of Play, I mean, honestly, I thought it was really cool, and that's pretty much all about that. Summer Games Fest we'll move on to that one, and that one had a ton of insane announcements. First of all, we're going to talk about the obvious elephant in the room with that one, Final Fantasy VII Revelation. I was thinking about saving that one for like the end of my state of play section, but we'll go ahead and we'll talk about it now. Obviously, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. It's been the thing that everybody has been looking forward to, and so I'm excited to see it. I still need to play Rebirth. I want to play it on stream, just haven't had a chance to buy it yet, but my plans are to hopefully dive into it sometime in the relative near future, so make sure you follow me on Twitch or sub to the channel so that way you guys can watch that whenever that happens. I don't know when that's going to happen, but Matt Mercer was on stage and he helped to explain some of the new mechanics and stuff like that, which looked really cool. So I genuinely think they did a incredible job with revealing that. And then just topping onto that, I don't care about Street Fighter, but they did add Tifa now to Street Fighter 6. So she'll be showing up in there, which is kind of cool. Other announcements that did come from Summer Games Fest, Stellar Blade Blood Rain. That's one that, I mean, we kind of figured Stellar Blade got a lot of hype. And so it was kind of came out of nowhere. I think a lot of people were not expected with that. But again, I never played Stellar Blade. It's not really one that's honestly even on my list, but I know it's got a lot of fans. So I think that's really cool. And that's exciting. Palworld 1.0, could have cared less. I'm not going to say too much about that one. Wolf Among Us 2. So that's another one that I know a lot of people are really hyped about. I never played Wolf Among Us. I never played the original. I've always wanted to play a Telltale game, but haven't actually gotten into them. Not for any particular reason other than just whenever I think about games to play, I don't pick up a Telltale game. But I've heard a lot of good things about the Wolf Among Us, and I know the fans are very, very excited for that one. So that's really cool. Mostly the rest of the games for the Summer Games Fest were like, okay, this is kind of cool. The only other ones that kind of stood out to me was, so Star Wars Zero Company is another one that when I looked at that, I was like, okay, I can definitely see the appeal on this one. I've never been a big strategy game person, but I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And so I think I will give Zero Company a try. I'm a little bit terrified that I'm going to play it and realize it's not for me, but I'm excited to at least try it. I don't think that is one that I will try and pre-order. That's one that I will play probably just on release. But with that, though, they also did give us a little bit more of the Star Wars Galactic Racer, and that game, oh, freaking cinema. I grew up playing Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. You know, that was my jam. That was probably my favorite racing game besides Diddy Kong Racing. And so for that to show up at Summer Games Fest was a absolutely wild experience. Was not expecting that one at all, but we got it, and I am very, very excited to play it. I know it was announced at the Game Awards, I think, and I probably squealed a little too loud. And so that one I'm very excited for. Guild Wars 3 was also announced at Summer Games Fest. I don't even know where to start with that. They didn't really obviously give us a ton of stuff on that. I know some more information has been coming out, but since I'm not really a big Guild Wars person, it's not something where I'm going to go out of my way to like try and consume all of the content on like what we know and don't know about it. But what I can say is that Guild Wars 2 is mechanically the best MMO that I have ever played. So seeing Guild Wars 3 being announced is really exciting. I think the team over at Guild Wars has something good going on, and I think they can really take the formula that they have put in from Guild Wars 2 and be able to put it into Guild Wars 3 and make it work really, really well. The only other game I think that I remember seeing that really kind of caught my eye was the Gen Atlas. So Fumito Ueda is back, the creator of Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian. I've never actually played any of those games, but I've watched an absurd amount of speedruns. And so that was a game that looked really, really cool, and I'm very excited to see how that one will go. I'm excited to see kind of what's to be expected from that team. Gen Atlas looks like it's going to be a wonderful time, and I'm excited to see what the team there is cooking up for that game. That pretty much does it for Summer Games Fest, but we're going to go ahead. We're going to move on to Xbox, and When I say they cooked, ladies and gentlemen, they cooked. They cooked, and they cooked so hard. Okay, there are a lot of things in here that was so good. Now, I'm not a big Gears of War fan. Never really have been. I genuinely could care less. But Gears of War E-Day looked so cool. It looked cool. It looked really fun. It looked exciting. It looked exactly like you would want to see from a Gears of War game. And so I think that right there is incentive enough to even like try it. And I didn't watch like the deep dive into the mechanics because, again, not a big Gears of War person, but the trailer alone was cool enough to at least get me interested. Next thing, they obviously, big surprise before they went into Gears of War, talked about Call of Duty. You all know I'm a big Call of Duty person. I have done Call of Duty casting for a few years, but I've had to take a step away due to life and medical stuff. But I mean, Modern Warfare 4 looks fun. They gave DMZ the spotlight, which I'm a little bit about because I'm kind of sick of the whole extraction shooter meta that's been going on. But that's just, that's just me. I'm an RPG guy, so whenever more extraction shooters come out, it's just kind of like whatever. So that's pretty much all that I have to say on Modern Warfare 4. I don't really have anything crazy to say on that one. Halo is back. Halo looks awesome. I played Halo 4, and that's about it, but by golly, does Halo Campaign Evolved look like it is going to be an absolutely incredible video game. I'm excited to see Halo make a comeback. I think it needs one. And now we're going to talk about the things where they really cooked, okay? So, first of all, we got to talk about the dragon in the room. Spyro is back. Spyro A Realm Beyond. That was one. So when the Xbox showcase was happening, I was having a terrible migraine day, was stuck on the couch. And Spyro being revealed made it even worse. So Toys for Bob, y'all made my migraines worse because I was jumping up and down. I was so excited. I love Spyro. I have loved Spyro for as long as I can remember. And that game, even though they barely gave us a tiny little hint of gameplay, looked incredible. It looks so good, and I am so excited to see Spyro come back. I'll probably be picking that one up, most likely. I don't know. We'll see. But Spyro is back. He looks absolutely incredible, and I am beyond happy. Then, not only did we get a really cool look in a Persona 4 revival, which I've only played Persona 4 Golden. I have plans to play Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5 Royal, as well as Persona 5 Strikers. Like, I have plans to play all of those games on stream. But Persona 4 Revival looked incredible. Persona 4 Golden is one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of the few games to ever make me cry, and we got to see that, and that looked amazing. Everybody looked incredible. I'm excited to see what kind of new combat systems they come up with, how they continue to make the game look amazing. And then Atlas decided to just be like, oh, you thought we were done cooking. Nah. Persona 6 is real, and they dropped this spoopy Persona 6 trailer. Completely took me off guard, but there it is. Persona 6. It's here. It's real. And I am screaming. It looks amazing, and I am so excited to play Persona 6. I know I'll be copying that one ASAP. I love Persona so much, and so to see not just one game, but 2 games is very, very exciting. And then the last one, Castlevania. I'm only talking about it mainly because I have a friend who's a huge Castlevania fan. I've never actually played Castlevania, but Belmont's Curse looked cool. I love the art style. It gave me a lot of Hades vibes, kind of like a Hades mixed with Hollow Knight, which I think works very much in their favor. And so I really think that, honestly, all of the games that were shown off, these are just the ones that really kind of stuck out to me, but like all of these games that were shown off looked incredible. I think we had one of the most amazing setups for games, and I think 2026, the end of 2026 into 2027 is going to be one of we're going to be looking at a crazy revival for games, and I genuinely think single player games might be back because that was a wonderful showcase, and there's so many games I'm excited for. We got Persona 4. We're getting, or not Persona 4, Persona 6. Persona 6 is real. I'm gonna cry. But yeah, that was all those. Seriously though, I am beyond excited for these. I think all three of these showcases were incredible, and I am very excited to see all of these games come to fruition. So let me know down in the comments what your favorite game was that was shown off, and if you had a favorite of the three showcases, let me know. I think the Xbox Game Showcase was my personal favorite. I think there were a lot of really cool things and a lot of really good baits. Oh, I didn't even talk about Fable. Fable is back. Yeah, that got announced. So it got delayed because of GTA 6, which is weird because I genuinely don't care about GTA 6 at all. But Fable is back, and we're playing that on stream. We're playing that on stream, hands down. I've never played a Fable game, but it looks so good. I've wanted to play Fable for a really long time. But I've always been scared because I'm terrified of diving into old games. Because people will talk about them with a lot of nostalgia behind them, and I'm always so scared that, like, they'll come out and then they'll just be bad. Not necessarily because they're a bad game, but because they just don't hit for me because they don't have the same level of nostalgia. But either way, Fable looks incredible. I'm definitely going to play that one. It looks so good. All of these games looked incredible, and seriously, game devs, y'all are freaking cooking. So thank you guys so much for all the hard work you do making all of these games. You guys are awesome. But yes, again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. What was your favorite showcase? What was your favorite game? And I'd love to be able to hear more thoughts. And if there's any games that I didn't cover, talk about them. I want us to be excited about games together because video games are so freaking cool. Okay. All right, that's going to do it for this one, guys. As always, I got to give a love to my Ko-Fi supporters. If you guys would like to financially support the channel, that's the best way to do that. You can do so down in the description below. There will be a link there. You get early access to videos as well as some other additional perks that will be coming once we get more Ko-Fi supporters. So make sure you guys support on Ko-Fi. And as always, you are loved, you are valued, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And we will see you right back here in the next one. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody.